to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as an Associate Professor in MBA Department of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today's video, we want to see regarding the forecasting methods relates to the demand forecasting and forecasting methods. So in the last video, we have been explained what is the demand and its demand forecasting and what is the significance of demand forecasting. Now in this one, we will see that what is demand forecasting, its scope and its different methods, how the business people will forecast the demand in order to make a good decision for their businesses. So as we know, this demand forecasting is divided by the combination of two words, maybe demand and forecasting. As you know that the demand means what is the requirement for a product or services, or ability what the people or public want a certain goods in the market. In general, forecasting means making estimation in the present for the future occurring events. Means about future prediction. We can commonly call like a forecast. We predict what happen in the future. So that's we used to call it as a forecasting. So by adding of these two, demand forecasting means what a product, how much a product is required in the market, or what is the ability of the consumer in taking the product will be forecasted, means will be predicted by the producer, is called as a demand forecasting. So this demand forecasting doesn't based upon a simple assumption, or it is not a simple process. So first we'll see how this forecasting having its scope, means the area of its operations. So the scope of demand forecasting depends upon the operation of the firms, present as well as what is proposed in the future. Means the scope of demand will says that the firm what it was operating and what it want to do in the future. Both will be added in the scope of the demand forecasting. So here the forecasting when it is done at an international level, if the area of operations were at international, means when we say the scope of demand forecasting is of international one, means we has to go for forecasting various features regarding the international environment. When we have things, if the firm supplies its products and also the services in a local market, means my demand forecasting is based upon a local area, particular state or the particular country, then we can say the demand forecasting will be taken place at a local level. So here we are considering the scope of demand forecasting once based upon its area of operations, means where it was operating national level or international level or minimum to a small firm. So its operations, area of operation defines the scope of what we has to forecast regarding the product. So here the scope could be decided by considering the time and cost involvement in relationship to the benefit of the information acquired through the study of demand. Means here we can say what's a national level or international level or related to the small firm level. It is considered based upon the time and the cost. So what time we are forecasting and what is the cost involved. This information is very much important in order to forecast any particular demand of any product. So next we is to see regarding what are the methods of demand forecasting. So as we have said that forecasting or predicting the future is not in a simple assumption, or cannot be simply or easily we can say this will happen tomorrow. Why? Because market, consumers, there is a lot of difference in case of their taste, preferences and related goods. Every time to time they are changing. So there is no easy or the simple formula to go to forecast the demand. So we has to follow a proper judgment along with a scientific formula is needed to correct or predict the future demand of a product or services. Means when I want to forecast any products demand or services, we has to see that the proper judgment process with a scientific formula. Something basic should be there when we are forecasting. So we could not predict that simply this will happen or consumer will like this product, dislike the product on a no, without having any proof for the bias. We cannot say this will be happen. So that's why always this demand forecasting 100% requires the proper judgment analysis with a total scientific formula. So where these proper judgment analysis or the scientific formula in case of methods of demand forecasting has been categorized into two ways. One will call it as a qualitative methods of forecasting and second one is the quantitative methods of forecasting. Once the qualitative methods involves in using the personal judgment or experience to make the forecasting. Means qualitative means we involve not only the assumptions, we have to consider some of the factors, internal quality factors to be considered, which will comes across the judgment of the sales force, people or customers, maybe the producer. So some sorts of judgments and decision making should be there along with experience to make the forecast. Means here the qualitative items 100% based upon the judgment and experience in order to predict the future. So when we comes under the quantitative methods of forecasting, means when we want a dumping a quantity, means more methods, then we can call like historical data and statistical techniques are used in case of this qualitative methods. Means the quantity itself based upon some sort of assumptions, means historically the data we can get from accounting format or some statistical tools techniques like trend analysis, regressions. So these are the some of the formulas and the methods will be there where they require some sort of accounting information, historical or accounting information. Based upon that information, we calculate or forecast the quantitative and methods. Those comes under the statistical analysis. So relating to these quantitative and qualitative, we can go or we can see detailing in the next slide. So the first qualitative analysis, we comes across that survey of buyer's choice. The first method which we can say in the quality factors considering as survey of buyer's choice. So here we know that surveys means we used to forecast maybe for a very little bit of time, maybe called as short term forecasting, says maybe a 6 months or 1 year. When this is the most important or a feasible methods. Why? Because a survey in the sense where we directly meet the customer by taking some sort of questionnaire and there we ask the questions directly to the customers and intended about their buying in forthcoming time period. Means we give some sort of questionnaire to the consumer or customer and we'll ask him that what he want to purchase in the next coming season, next coming section, or what they have purchased at their choice. So what is the choice of purchasing particular product? So this is called as survey of buyer's choice. Means like a small sort of interviewing method where we interview the customer and we get the opinion what he want to purchase in the market or relating to that product. So these buyer choice method having done in the following ways. Means there are the 3 different ways where we can go for a buyer choice method. So here where this method we can done, the first one is completely enumerated method. Means under this method all potential buyers are asked about their future purchasing plans. Here we'll give a questionnaire or we'll ask about the future what they want to purchase. So complete enumerated method where the people will come to the directly to the customer and he will ask that what you want to go offer maybe the next month. So what is your plan of purchasing? Maybe some festival season was coming. So where you want to spend the money. So here we can say that completely what the intention of the customer, what he want to purchase in the next month or the next week will totally asked by the people by giving some sort of questionnaires or directly asking the question and taking their responses. So this is in a simple and also where we can directly understand what customer taste and preferences are there, such that giving the opinions what we collected from the customers will be seen that what is his intention of purchasing. And the next one was sample survey method. Under this method, a sample of potential buyers are chosen scientifically and not only those chosen or interviewed. Here the sample survey means, as we know, sample means some respondents has been taken. Maybe a product purchased by 40 or 50 people. Out of that we'll go sampling of 4 or 5 people and we'll go together to them and we go for interviewing and asking the questions relating to the product. So here the potential buyers means potentiality in the sense on some buyers we used to see the regular purchasing of a product or maybe regularly who was connected with the sales force or the potential distribution network. Those people are maximum interviewed. So they have taken as a sample size and they used to ask the questions relating to the product. That is, it's a good advantages and disadvantages of the product or why the people want to purchase that product. So here, this sample survey method where the scientifically we can choose and the people will be interviewed asking the different questions relating to that product. And the next method or the third method where we can call like end use method. It is especially used for forecasting the demand of input. Means what amount a producer want to produce, he want to estimate or forecast with the help of end use method. Why? Because this method is taking the interference from the final users, that is consuming industries or other sectors are identified. Means what we have a lump sum of the product, which are the industries or the sector or wise, that is maybe factories which are purchasing from them, that is end user, who is the last user of my product, we are going them and collecting the information. The desirable norms of consumption of the products. Why? Because here the norms will be fixed, maybe like industrial production activity or the factory source when he have taken, these themselves will be fixed. Maybe we want this amount of material to be purchased. So that desirable amount of consumption will be fixed. And target level of outputs are estimated and these norms are applied to forecast the future demand of the input. Means here the vast or the industrial buyers who has their own target level of estimation of the product and also they will fix what they has to be purchased. So based upon that we can forecast the future demand of the input. Hence we can say under this method the burden of demand forecasting is on the buyer. However, the judgment of the buyer are not completely reliable and so seller take the decision in lights of the judgment also. Means in this end user method, only the industrial people or end user, whatever they are using the product, will collect the statistical information. But here the total burden relating to the forecast is not taken from the customer who are purchasing the product. The sales force were also added. Why? Because the sales force are the people who are seeing what a consumer is purchasing, what amount of goods he was purchasing based upon the time being or the behavior. So the sales people who are selling the product can also know relating to these using of the products. So that's why here in the end user method, along with these industries or the buyers, the sales force are also added to take the decisions that how much goods has to be sent into the market. Here the judgment, both the people, that is the customers and at the same way sales force, both people's judgment was taken into the consideration. So this method is maximum suitable when goods are supplied in a large quantity rather than an individual consumer. And user method is mainly used as we have discussed, like industrial output and also relating to the factories, the supplying of the goods to the factories. So that's why here the goods, that is This method may be suitable only the people who are purchasing in a bulk manner or industries, but not to an individual householder. So these are the three things, that is the survey of buyer's choice, where we directly meet the consumer, we survey what buyer want to purchase in the future, can be done by three ways. One is completely enumerated method. Second one is taking a sample, we'll call it as sample survey method, and end user method, as we can call like industrial or the bulk purchasing people, what is their attitude or manner we can understand. So these three are the basic varieties where we can see in case of survey of buyer's choice. And the second method is collective opinion method. So it is also one of the qualitative methods, where under this method, the sales force of the firm predict the estimated future sales in their region. Means here collective opinions means collecting the opinion of the people. So whose opinion is collected means the salesperson who are selling the goods and services of a certain firm, they predict and estimate the future sales. As the individual estimations are aggregated to calculate the total estimated future sales. Means an individual salesperson who was selling the goods, he can give an estimation of 10 or 20 customers what they want to do. Like that, when we have taken a certain region or one place related to the one area, all the sales force opinions aggregately will collect, and aggregately will give the opinion in case of collective opinion method. Means this is not one person who was selling the goods. All the people of particular area who are selling the same type of product gives their opinions. So these opinions are reviewed like considering some factors like future change in the selling price, maybe product design or change in the competition. Means the sales force will say that okay, these people are purchasing these goods, but they want, some people like when the price decreases, many people are ready to purchase. Some says sales force, no, the people want some change in the flavor or the design of the product. Some says the advertisement campaign, many people don't know this product is existing. So if you go give a lot of advertisement campaigning, automatically the people can know yes, this product is there, and they will purchase the goods. And the purchasing power of the consumers, employment opportunities, and the population. So these are some of the factors where the sales force people will take into the consideration and gives their opinions. By collecting all the sales force opinions of a particular region, we can use estimate the demand, which we'll call as collective opinion method. So under this method, as the sales force, why we have considering in the collective opinion of sales force is the sellers or the people who are close to the customer, where they can know or identify the need, requirement, taste and fashions of the consumer. So what they want. So sometimes they come to a small shop also, they will ask, is this product is there? When we give that product, they will ask that is there any improved version of this product, or maybe is this feature is there in that product. So they used to go talkative with the salesman, where they have an interaction between the consumer and the salesperson. So that's why in the collective opinion, importance was given to the salesperson in collecting the opinions. And therefore, the firm having a good sales personals can utilize the experience of predicting the demand. Means once the sales force or experienced sales force or that, they will convince the customers. So such that they can predict what the customer will purchase that product or not. The sales experienced person can understand the attitude of the customer. So that's why this method is also named as sales force opinion method or grassroots approach method. So why the name we are calling like grassroots approach method is we want to dig from the down, means from the root level, from the customer we are taking the opinion, where the sales people are directly connected with the customer. And at the same way, this collective opinion method also depends upon the personal opinions, and the salespersons is not purely scientific. Means where we can say here total scientific methods are not followed. Why? Because as the people, the sales force and the customers come into the contract, they go for, some people will give their personal ideas, personal opinions. If this product is like this, it may be good, or we want this feature. Maybe one person opinion that is, but all the people's opinion is not that. But sometimes we depends. These collective sales force method also gives the personal bias, which are not at all purely scientific. And the third method relating to this qualitative analysis is barometric method. So this method is based upon the past demand of the product and try to project the past into future. Means barometric method where the projection will be done from past by analyzing the past data, what happened. So what last year we sold in this season, summer season. So what are the goods we have sold in the summer season? What type of increase in the sales has been taken place? So based upon that past summer season, I want to estimate the sales of this year's summer. Means the past trends or the past information what we have been projected will be taken as a basic in order to consider the future demand. So the economic indicator were used to predict the future trends of the business. Means when I want to go for forecasting these barometric method, in this we have considered what happened in the past environment. So based upon that, I want to go for the future analysis. And this future analysis, I'll consider some economical indicators, means economical things which decides the business organization. So based upon that economical indicator, we can go for an index. An index of economic indicator is formed. Index means like census, like a trend which is going upwards or downwards. These are called as indexes, going up and down. So based upon these economical indicator, an index will be formed which help us to forecast the demand. So when I want to see these indexes, there are three types of economical indicators are there presented in the barometric method. So these three types, the first one indicator is leading indicator, lagging indicator and coincident indicator. Means these are the three types of economic indicators which help us to forecast the future sales of a product. So the first one is leading indicator. Those are moving upwards or downwards ahead of other series. Means when we can say compulsorily, every year the sales force was going on increasing, maybe upwards increase, or sometimes the sales force every year coming commonly downwards. Means sales every year it was coming down. Maybe it is of leading indicator, means upwards increase or downwards decrease of the sales. We can call as leading. In any direction it was going forward, then we'll call it as a leading economic indicator. And the next one is the lagging indicator that follows a change after sometimes lag. Means a basic time is taken. Means after some period of time, then the economic indicator starts on working. Means it is in a lagging. Means immediate effect will not be considered. Means for example, if change in the price or the price decreased for a certain goods, immediately after decrease in the price, the effect will not be showed in the market. So it will take some time. It will lag. After 1 month, 2 months or the 3 months, then it starts increasing the sales. That is called as lagging. Means some time gap is taken between the what we have done or what the demand has to be in the market. And the next one is coincidental indicator, which says that moves up and down simultaneously with the level of economic activities. Means based upon the economical level, maybe GDP or maybe the budgetary sessions what the central government has come, based upon that coincidence our product will get some favorable indication, maybe moving topwards or downwards. Means due to some other thing happen on an economic event, maybe budget, our product got some incentive from the central market. Automatically will decrease the price and our sales will increase in the market. Means coincidence has been happened. I didn't wish that I'll get some incentive from the central government or budgetary sections. So based upon that, these coincident, the sales was increased. Sometimes the sales will decrease. So this type of economical indicator, we used to call it as a coincidental indicator. So these are the three types of indicators where we can identify in case of barometric method. Next, fourth one is market experiment method. It is another method where we forecast the demand in a market by doing the experiments. So the name itself says market experiment, means we has to conduct some sort of experiment or market studies based upon the consumer behavior under actual but some controlled market conditions. Means we should identify that if I do this, if I change the features of the product, then how many consumers will purchase my product? Or if I increase the price, what is the effect upon the market? So we want to do some sort of experiments. Why? Because always the same constant selling price or forecasting the same type of factors will not be possible in the market. Why? Because always marketing or external conditions are dynamic and changing. In these dynamic and changing conditions, some factors will be always changing mood. They will not be in a stable condition. So here we should identify that which factor was changing. So based upon that, I should take some factors and I have to do some experiment. Based upon that experimental or studies, how the consumer will react. Maybe if I change the color of my product, or if I change the type of my product, what the consumer will opinion. Is consumer is like to purchase my product or not? If I increase my product, maybe very high, 50% increase in the price, how many consumers are ready to purchase my product? So like this, the people will do some sort of experiments in the market under some conditions, but they will not go for some extreme situations. Only to certain point only these type of experiments will be done. So certain determinants of demand that could be varied or the changed based upon some other factors. Means when I want to do some sort of experimental nature in the market, the other factors relating to my product must and should be changed. Why? Because coincidentally the change factor may affect my product. So we should make all other things relating to that product must and should be constant. However, this method is very expensive, time consuming, and sometimes a negative feedback can also be occurred by the market experiment methods. So that's why this method is followed only to the certain restricted product and under a controlled marketing conditions. And the next method is expert opinion method. So expert opinion method is usually an explicit takes the explicit knowledge about the factors affecting the demand. So the opinion is collected in the demand forecasting. So this expert opinion method is also called as Delphi technique. Means which is developed by Ophel Halmer, is one of the person who enumerated or gave importance of this Delphi technique, means expert opinion method. So under these methods, experts are given a series of careful designed questionnaire. Means the experts will provide a questionnaire which is consisting a couple of questions and ask the sales force forecast the demand. So they also required to give the suitable reasons. Means a group of people will sit and they'll prepare some sort of questions relating to our product. So these questions are asked or given to the sales force. Why? Because this expert's opinion method, a group of people will prepare questions relating to the product And at the same way, the salespeople are expert in selling the goods directly to the consumer. They know the consumer taste, preferences and fashions. So based upon that, these sales force people will give the answers or will fill the questionnaire, and based upon that, we can go for forecasting the demand. Here, they also requires to give a suitable reasons. Means once the sales force has given a question, answer to certain question, and they should justify the answer. Why they have given that answer based upon the experience what they had with the consumers. Then they can provide the reason why they have answered that question. So these opinion could be shared to the expert to arrive at a conclusion. Means by taking all these sales force opinions by a group of people, and they will also have the reasons why that answer was provided by the sales force. So by conducting all these questions and with the reasons, the experts will come to an opinion, and based upon that opinion, they go for forecasting the sales of a product. And these Delphi technique or the expert meridian is one of the fast and cheapest method. Why? Because we know the sales force and expert people will be there relating to the report, where it could be completed within a very less period of time, and the cost for taking the opinion will also be less. And these about the expert opinion method. So the above methods, that is the consumer survey method and collective opinion method, barometric method and market experiment method and expert opinion method or Delphi technique. So these are the 5 methods which we can explain relating to the qualitative analysis of demand forecasting. And another thing we have is quantitative analysis of demand forecasting. So under quantitative methods, we comes under the statistical methods of analyzing the demand. This statistical method is one of the important method of demand forecasting. Why? Because the statistical methods are scientific methods where they have to justify with the help of formulas, rules and regulations. Means reasons will be there on scientific basis, and reliable in sense which we can apply in the actual or a practicality could be done, and free from bias. Means maybe some limitations or the bias are there where we can take some remedial steps. So that way statistical methods are commonly called as scientific, reliable and free from bias. So maybe many types of statistical methods are there where we can calculate the demand forecasting, but we'll see only the 2 important major statistical methods. One is trend projection methods, and the second one is regression analysis. So when we want to see these, the first method called as trend projection methods. So basically we used to call like all statistical methods, maybe trend or regression, is based upon the historical data available. Means already we'll have a data relating to the past. So based upon that historical or the past data, the statistical methods are considered. So in this trend projection, it is also one of the important and useful method in the organization, where we have a sufficient amount of accumulated past data of the sales. Means here in the trend, we must and should have the past data, maybe the data relating to 5 years. So 5 years data was available. Then I used to identify. So first year, so what happened? So what is a sales? Maybe 10,000 units of sales. Maybe second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. So like this, a series of years we used to consider in case of years. And what sort of increase in the goods sold in the market, increase or decrease. Then we used to identify in the trends, maybe the goods production was increased, decreased. So we used to have commonly, these are called as trends. Means what happened in the sales of the basic figures, increasing or decreasing, what is happening based upon the time basis, we'll call it as a trend projections. So this is based upon the good amount of the data what we have to present in the historical sense, means past data is required. And in order to calculate these trend ones, we'll said what I said, like number of years. So this was arranged in a chronological order, maybe year basis, monthly basis, whatever, some order should be identified. And this series depicts what is the past trends, on the basis of it how the future market trend to be predicted. Means from the last year my sales was increasing from year to year. Then what I'll depict next year also, I depict the same, such that my sales will be increases. Or sometimes from the last 2 years my sales was decreasing year after year. Then what I predict, maybe next year also my sales will be decreases. Means based upon the past year chronological order trends, how the market is going on, we depict the future analysis. And it is also assumed that past trends will continue in the future. Maximum we have a common bias thinking that based upon the last year increase or decrease, we used to identify this year's increase or the decrease of the sales. And thus, these bias will be predicted the future trends or demand or services is to be forecasted. Means based upon the last year or the before year's sales or the trends, we used to predict what happened in the next year of the sales relating to the goods and services could be forecasted. And there are the different methods of the trend projection, where we can, based upon the data availability or requirement of the organization, we can use the different methods. And the next analysis or the method relating to the quantitative analysis or the statistical methods or regression analysis. So as we know, regression method which establishes a relationship between a dependent and an independent variable. So in our case, in case of sales forecasting, so we used to forecast the sales based upon some dependent variable. So the sales is directly, so one is dependent variable and another one is independent variable. Two types of factors is to be considered. So based upon those two types of factors, we used to identify what sort of relation is established to that factor and demand forecasting. So in this case, the quantity demanded is a dependent variable. Maybe for example, we'll take income of the goods or the price of the goods or prices of the related goods or the substitute goods or an independent variable. Means one is a known variable, what is quantity they want to purchase. Another variable which giving effect upon my sales force or the product is not known, which we'll call as independent variable. For example, we can consider the factors of demand or supply like income of the consumer, prices of the goods, prices of related goods or substitute goods. We can take any of that factor as an independent variable. So by matching the relationship between these dependent and independent variable, we'll calculate the regression. As we know, the derived relationship or the derived formula for the regression analysis is y is equal to a plus bx. So where we can calculate y is forecasted demand of a product or services. For example, as we know, a is an dependent variable, b of x is called as an independent variable. So where y is forecasted a demand of an goods. Based upon these known variable, we want to forecast of unknown variable. The relationship will exhibit what sort of requirement there in the market for related goods. So where we can solve by using the regression analysis formula, that is y is equal to a plus bx. So this is a simple analysis relating to the quantitative analysis of the business demand forecasting relating to the trend projection methods and also the regression analysis. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.